Hello students, welcome to the online session of data analytics using R. In previous session, we have studied about list data structure in R. List is a heterogeneous type of data structure that stores different types of data. Okay, so in list, the advantage is that we can store different lengths of element or different lengths of component in a list. Now today we are going to study about data frame, data object or data structure in R. So data frame is basically nothing but a tabular structure, that is we can store data into a tabular format. We can store data into table by using data frame. Data frame is again a heterogeneous data structure in R, same as that of list. That is, in data frame also we can store different types of data. The only restriction is that all the components of data frame must be of same length or of equal length. That is, suppose I want to store information about student. Suppose I want to store roll number, name, marks, mobile numbers, etc. So roll number, name, marks, mobile numbers, these all will be the columns of data frame. Okay, or we can say these are the components of data frame. So all these components must have equal length. That is, if we are storing data for 7 students, if 7 roll numbers are there, then there must be 7 names, there must be 7 marks, there must be 7 values for the mobile number. Okay, so whenever we want to store data using different components in single data frame, all those components must be of equal length. So this is the restriction of data frame, and this is the main difference between list and data frame. That is, see, we can store same information about student into list. We can make a list of students to store the information, but in list all components can have different lengths. But in data frame this is not the case. In data frame, whenever we want to store data, all the components must be of same length. Okay, now we'll see how to create data frame. So to create data frame in R, we have data.frame function. Okay, so now we'll store information about employee. So I'm creating employee data frame. Data.frame, this is the function by using which we can create data frame, that is table in R. It receives different values as a parameter. So all these parameters are nothing but the components, the columns that we want to store in that data frame. Okay, so here first I want to store employee IDs. So I am storing information of 3 employees. Then I am storing name, ename, it is a character type of vector. So these are the names of employees, and then one parameter is there, string as factors equal to false. Okay, now see, here I am creating a data frame with name employee. Data.frame function is used to create a data frame, and I'm creating this data frame with 2 columns or with 2 components. First is employee ID and second is employee name. Okay, now see, as we know that whenever we want to store component in data frame, all the components must have equal length. Okay, so here I have 3 employee IDs. That's why I have given 3 employee names. Okay, both the components, employee ID and employee name, both components have equal length, that is 3 and 3. Now the parameter is strings as factors equals to false. Now we have already studied factor data structure in R. Factor is a data structure or data object in R that is used to store categorical type of data. That is, if we want to store data in fixed categories, in predefined categories, then we can use factor data structure in R. Okay, it is used to store limited values. Okay, And whenever we assign any data to that factor data structure, to that factor data object, internally all those data values are stored in terms of integers. Okay, even if we create a character type of factor, internally R stores all those data values into labels, into integer labels. Okay, now here, whenever we create a data frame or whenever we whenever we import data from external source like Excel file or CSV file or text file into our data frame, so whatever string data is there in those files, all those character type of data or string type of data are by default treated as factor by R. Okay, that is, if you're importing data from Excel file, and suppose if that Excel file consists of any column whose data type is character, that is the column stores character type of data. Whenever we import that Excel file into our data frame, that character type of column is treated as a factor. Okay, so to avoid this, strings as factors parameter is used while creating data frame, and this parameter is set to false. That is, we don't want to treat string type of data as a factor. Okay, the R console or the R interpreter should treat all strings as a plain text. Okay, by default strings as a factors, this parameter is set to true. That is, by default while creating data frame, if we don't specify strings as factors parameter as a false, then all the string type of data is treated as a factor. Okay, and to avoid this, we need to set this parameter to false while creating any data frame. Okay, now see, our data frame is created. Now we'll see the structure of data frame, that is by using str function, str of employee. Okay, see, this is the structure of a data frame. It consists of two components, EID and ename. EID is an integer type of column or integer type of component with 3 values, and ename is a character type of component with 3 values. Okay, and strings as a factor is false. That is, we don't want to treat string or character type of data as a factor. Okay, now we'll display data from this data frame. So we can directly type the name of that data object, that is employee, to display any to display the values from any data structure or any data object in R. We can directly type the name of that data structure, or we can use print function to display the value of any data object. So print employee, here I am using print function. You can simply write the name of data object, that is employee. See, this is my data frame. It consists of two columns, employee ID and employee name. Okay, so this is how we can create data frame in R. Now we'll see how to access data from the data frame. Okay, so here we have again two methods to access data. So we can use $sign to access data, to access any column, to access any component from the data frame. Okay, so here I have used $sign, that is employee, $employee ID. I am accessing employee ID component from the data frame. Okay, or instead of this, instead of $sign, we can use single square bracket to access data. Okay, now see, whenever we access data by using $sign, we always get vector type of output. Whenever we access data by using dollar sign, we always get vector type of output. Okay, I have already explained this in list data structure. And whenever we use square bracket to access data, to display data from any data object, we get output that is of same type as that of your data object. Okay, like see here, whenever I have used dollar sign to access values of employee ID, it has given me a vector type of output. Okay, and whenever I have used square bracket, single square bracket to access employee ID component from the data frame, it has given me a column, okay, from the data frame. So this is the difference between dollar sign and square bracket. So this is how we can access data from the data frame. Okay, now see, if we want to access ename of first employee, then we can use this syntax, that is employee dollar ename. Employee is the name of data frame, dollar sign to access component, ename is the name of component that I want to access, and here I want to access name of first employee. So I have given index of that data that I want to access. So I want to access name of first employee. Okay, so this is how by using index position we can access particular value from the data frame. Okay, now we'll see how to update element in a data frame. Okay, so here I am using this syntax. First is my data frame name, then 1 comma e name. Okay, now it means that I want to change the value of ename component which is present at first index position. This one is not a employee ID, it is a index position of value that I want to change from ename component. Okay, so it means that I want to change the value of ename component that is present at first index position. So right now in ename component, the value which is present at first index position is John. So it simply means that I want to change the employee name of employee ID 1. Okay, again I am repeating that this one is not a employee ID. This one is the index position of value of ename value which is present at this position. Okay, so here I am changing this value to Jack. Now we'll verify the result. See, your component is, the value of component is updated. The previous value was John, and now after executing this command, the new value is Jack. So this is how we can update value of any component by using this syntax. Okay, now we have another option to another method to access data, that is dollar sign. So instead of this square bracket, we can use dollar sign to update value of any component. So now here I'll tell you how to update it by using dollar sign. So first write down the name of data frame, then dollar sign, then write down the name of component that you want to update, ename, and then write down the index, suppose 2. I want to update the value of ename component which is present at second position. So right now at second position the value that is present is Mary. Okay, so this is the name of employee of second which is present at second position. Okay, so now I am changing that value to Jackie, for example. See, our element is updated, the value of that component is updated. So you can either use this square bracket syntax to update value, or you can use dollar sign to update the value. whenever we use square bracket, in that square bracket it receives two parameters. First parameter is the index position of value that we want to update, and second parameter is the component name for which we want to update the value. And when we use dollar sign, then after dollar sign we need to write the name of component for which we want to update the value, and after that in square bracket we need to specify the index position that we want to update. Okay, so this is how we can perform update operation on any data frame component. Now we'll see how to display data as per our requirement. Okay, see, we have already know that we can use square bracket or dollar sign to display any component from the data frame. Okay, now we'll see how to display a subset of data frame. That is, instead of displaying all data, all values of any component, we can display value as per our requirement. Okay, now we'll see that how to display it. So first I am writing the name of data frame, that is employee, and here suppose I want to display first two rows of data frame. See, my data frame consists of 3 rows. I want to display first 2 rows of data frame with all columns. Okay, my data frame consists of 2 columns, employee ID and employee name. This strings as a factors is a parameter. Okay, means we don't want to treat string as a factor. So our original or main parameters are only 2, that is employee ID and employee name. So here I want to display first 2 rows and then with all column. That's why I have written name of my data frame, that is employee. 1:2 stands for first 2 rows. So first index always a row index and second index is always a column index. So here my column index is null, that is I have not given any value for the column index. It means that I want to display all the columns. See, this is my output. This is called as a subsetting of data frame. That is, we don't display all data from the data frame, but we display only user required data. Okay, so that is called as subsetting of data frame. Now I want to display first 2 rows and suppose first column. Okay, only first column. So here I have given this 1:2, that is first 2 row, and now this is the column index, that is 1. I want to display first column only. Okay, so this is how we can display subset of data. So here for subsetting you need to specify the name of your data frame. After that, this name of data frame, then in square bracket you need to specify row index and column index that you want to display. And if you don't specify any index for row and column, then it will display all values from that particular component. Okay, like see, for example, I have not given row index here. Okay, so first is empty space. I want to display all the rows and only first column. Okay, so this is how we can get the output. So this is called subsetting of data frame. By using index position of component, we can display user required data from the data frame. Now we'll see how to add new rows and columns to the existing data frame, or how to merge different data frames together. So to add new columns and rows in a data frame, or to merge different data frames together, we have two functions, rbind and cbind. Rbind stands for row binding and cbind stands for column binding. Means if we want to add a new row into the existing data frame, then we have rbind function, and to add new column into the existing data frame, we have cbind function. So our data frame is employee. It consists of 2 columns, employee ID and employee name, and it consists of data for 3 employees. So now I'm going to add new row into the existing column, existing data frame. So while adding new row into the existing data frame, the condition is that number of columns in new row must be equal to number of columns into the existing data frame. That is, we know that all the components in data frame must be of equal length. Means if now in this case my data frame consists of 2 columns. So while inserting new row, I need to specify values for all the columns present in the data frame. That is here, while inserting new row, I need to specify value for employee ID and employee name. I cannot skip any of the values for the components. Okay, so here syntax for adding new row into existing data frame by using rbind function is, first we need to write name of data frame, that is employee equals to rbind. Then my first parameter is employee, that is the name of my existing data frame, because I'm going to bind a new list, a new row to the existing data frame. That's why the syntax is like this. This rbind function receives 2 parameters. First parameter is the name of existing data frame to which we want to add our new list or new row, and second parameter is the value of component that we want to add. So here for adding all those values for different component in the data frame, we are going to use list data structure. Okay, means we are going to add a new list into the existing data frame. So list of employee ID and employee name. Okay, so now we'll verify the result. See, new row is added into the existing data frame by using rbind function. Now we'll see how to add a column. So here again write down the name of your data frame, then rbind function, cbind function for column addition, and it also receives 2 parameters. First is the name of existing data frame to which we are going to bind our column, and next is the name of column or the name of component that we want to add. So here I want to add CT. So name of cities, C. Now we'll verify the result. See, city column or city component is added into the existing data frame. So this is how we can add new row and new column by using rbind and cbind function into the existing data frame. Now there is another way by using which we can add a column into the existing data frame. So here we can simply write data frame name, that is employee, then $sign, and then the name of component that you want to add. So here I want to add mobile number or contact number. So my syntax is employee $mob is equal to C of, you can write any mobile numbers. I'm giving some random value. So this consists of employee ID, 4 data for 4 employees, and salary. Okay, so salary is the vector, and I want to combine employee data frame and info data frame. Okay, so emp info will be a new data frame with all the columns, it will combine repeated columns also with all the columns present in employee data frame and e-info data frame. And if we display the class of new data frame, that is class of emp info, then it is data dot frame, that it is a data frame. So this is how we can merge two data frames column wise by using cbind function. Okay. Now we'll see how to merge two different data frame together by using rbind function, that is row wise. So here I have two data frames, employee and e data frame. So employee data frame consists of data for 4 employees and e data frame consists of data for 3 employees. Okay, and here if you carefully look at the structure of both the data frames, then both data frame consist of same columns, that is employee ID, employee name, CT and mobile numbers. Okay, and the data types of all the 4 columns are same. Employee ID is of integer type, e-name, CT, both the columns are of character type, and mobile number or mo, this column is again of integer type. Okay, so whenever we want to combine different data frames together by using rbind function, care should be taken that both or all the data frame must consist of equal number of columns or equal number of components, and the data types of all the columns must be same. That is, if first data frame consists of 4 columns, then second data frame must also consist of 4 columns. Okay, and the data types of each of the column must be same. Okay, so here both the conditions are satisfied. Now we can combine, we can merge these two data frames together by using rbind function. Okay, so again I am creating new data frame called emp info. Okay, I am overwriting previous emp info data frame here. So emp info rbind, and I am merging employee and e data frame together row wise. Okay, so now my emp info data frame will be like this. See, now my emp info data frame consists of data for 7 employees. So first 4 employees are from employee data frame and next 3 employees are from e data frame. Okay, now see, while creating data frame or while inserting data into the data frame, the condition is that all the components must have equal length. Okay, means while inserting data, we need to insert value for all the columns in a data frame. But what if we don't know the value of any of the component? In that case, we can insert any value. Let's take example of inserting any value into the existing data frame. So here I have this data frame, that is emp info, and now I want to insert new row into the data frame. Okay, so I am inserting that row by using rbind function, rbind emp info. This is my existing data frame. I am inserting one list of values. So employee 8, then some name of employee, CT of employee, and now suppose I don't know the mobile number of that employee. So instead of skipping that value, I can simply insert any, that is not available or not applicable. Okay. Now let's see what will be the result. So here you can see any value is inserted in mobile number field of employee number 8, because that value is unknown or not available at the time of insertion of data. Now we'll see how to update that value. Means after some time, if you get the value of mobile number for employee ID A, you can update that value. So here I can simply write emp info of mo. I want to update the value of mobile or mo column from emp info for index position 8. So here you can insert the value. See, any value is replaced with the mobile number. So this is how we can insert any value when we don't know the value of any column in data frame, and whenever we get that value, or whenever that value becomes available, we can replace that value. We can replace new value with the NA value. Now we'll see how to delete column from the database. So here, if I want to delete mobile number, then I can simply write emp info of mo equal to null. That is, by assigning null value to any column, we can delete that column from the data frame. So here, see, mobile number column or mobile number component is deleted from the database. Now we'll see how to delete row from the database. So to delete any row from the database, we need to assign negative index of that row to the database. That is, if I want to delete row number 8, that is a details of employee ID 8, then I can simply write -8 comma, see, this first index position is the index position for row, and this second index position is the index position for column. So I want to delete all column, that's why I have not given any index position of column, but I want to delete 8 row, that's why I have given -8. So just by assigning negative index of any row to that data frame, we can delete that row from the data frame. See, row number 8, that is the data of employee ID 8, is deleted from the database. Now we'll see how to create new data frame by fetching data from the existing data frame. So here I am creating new data frame called einfo by fetching all data from the emp info data frame. So I have written einfo equals to emp info. So einfo. Now this einfo is the newly created data frame by fetching all data, all columns and all rows from the existing data frame, that is from emp info. Now, instead of fetching all data, we can fetch only required amount of data from old data frame and we can create new data frame. So here, now we'll see how to fetch all columns and few rows from the database to create new data frame. So I'm overwriting this einfo data frame. So einfo equals to, now I'm fetching few rows from the data frame, data.frame. Now here we don't want to copy entire data, that's why we have to use data.frame function to create this new data frame. So data.frame emp info, this is my input, data.frame in bracket emp info. I want to copy data from emp info data frame. I want to copy first 4 rows from the data frame and all columns. Okay. Now let's see the result. See. Now einfo is the newly created database by fetching only 4 rows from emp info and all columns. Okay. Now we'll see how to create a data frame by fetching all rows but few columns. Okay, opposite of previous example. So again I am overwriting einfo data frame. Now instead of giving row index, I am giving column index. So first field is empty, then comma, means I want to fetch all the rows. If column index is not given, it means that we want to work with all rows. If all columns. And if row index is not given, it means that we want to work with all the rows. Now here I want to fetch only 2 columns, first and second column. So I can simply write C of first and second. Now see, einfo is a newly created data frame by fetching first and second column and all the rows from emp info, that is from old data frame. So this is how we can copy data from one data frame to another data frame. So this is all about today's session. Today we have studied how to create data frame and how to execute different operations on data frame. Thank you.